why am I doing this? Because I'm practicing alternate picking in a way that really stretches my ability to do what is most hard in alternate picking, which is string shifting. And if you want to really make some progress in this area, if you want to really boost what you're doing and get some new results, you want to follow along in this video and the next to come. Because we're going to use a principle that I came up with out of frustration, because I was just not making progress. And this principle, this way of looking at practicing, works also in other areas of life. And that's why it's a principle. It's because it's just universally true to rapid progress. It seems like it goes slower in the beginning, but then you just leap forward and really figure out, once you return back to normal practicing, how insane, how much of progress you've really been making in a short period of time. So please stay with me here. So what are we talking about? Well, the first thing we're going to talk about is alternate picking exercises. Normally when we do those, we just, pick something. The worst thing we can do is play, 6 strings up, or 3 notes per string, because it involves all kinds of challenges. You have to move your hand to fit the strings. You have to go all the way down. You have to play each individual string, and each individual string feels differently. We got fat strings in the bottom and light strings at the top. And if you go back again, that's even worse, because it's a different way. It's a different feeling of playing backwards or down than it is to play upwards. And so there are too many things involved. So the first thing we want to focus on, of course, is focus. We want to limit what we do so the brain can really get a chance to learn something with as few variables as possible, as few challenges as possible. That's the first principle. If we don't use that, we won't get anywhere. So what we do is we limit ourselves and say, okay, what is really the challenge of what I'm trying to practice? And when it comes to alternate picking, it's string shifting, right? Once you've learned of playing on one string, that is the first challenge. It is. That's alternate picking in its purest form, right? Up, down, on one string. You need to put in the accents, of course. You need to make sure that your brain has a track to run on when it can't process each individual note. So we have those accents in there, so we could da 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 da. We group the notes in little groups of 3, and that can then be a little button we fire off in the brain. So we go da 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 da. So we create a pattern in the brain that says da da da, and we can fire that off, da 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 da. But then we only do and we can process the we can't process the brrr. It becomes too much, too fast, not possible. So we make these little groupings, right? See, this is a spasm in my body. It's one thing. It's not 3 individual little movements, because I've been da 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 da, and the accents make that happen. If you just go da 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 da, it's just and then you reach a certain level and it's just too fast for you because you can't process it in your brain. But if you have the accents in, you play just a little bit louder on the third note, da 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 da, then you reach a certain level where that isn't fast enough. If you want to play really fast, then you have to group the notes in 6s. So we make this a spasm, one thing in the brain. When I'm nodding my head, I'm actually accenting every 6th note. Da 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 da. Then we can go, right? And all that happens in the brain is just fire off that pattern, right? Right? We can do 6 notes. But if I do that, I'm involving a new thing. We got a new thing in the equation. I'm not just picking 1 string. Now I'm picking 2 strings. So what do we got in there? We got a string shift. And that is really the most challenging thing about alternate picking, the thing that eludes most people. They never get to it because it seems impossible. But it's not impossible. It's actually super easy if we teach the brain how to do it, and we just do it enough times. And that's what these videos are all about. So we go 2 strings, right? Then that becomes one thing. It's really amazing how the brain works, and then we can pack 6 notes in every instance we activate in the brain. Okay? So That was a bit of a sidetrack here, but those are the fundamentals of practicing alternate picking, because if you don't focus on these accents, you can only reach a certain level and then the brain just goes, oh, it's too fast. And that really follows the way you can sing. If you can't sing it, that's the level. You can't say it faster than that. If you don't have accents in there, that's the level you can get to with your whole body, with your pick and your fingers. So you really need to amp up and say, okay, I need to group some notes here. I need to create a pattern that I can then fire off. So I go ba da 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 da. So if you want to play, become very good at alternate picking, you are fundamentally, effectively wasting your time if you're not using accents. So that is the first prerequisite of building great alternate picking skills. No accents, no speed. You just think about playing fast, Claus. Yes, speed is a measure of mastery. If you want to become really good at playing Itsy Bitsy Spider, you don't want to learn to just play Itsy Bitsy Spider. Is that Itsy Bitsy Spider? I don't know. But you want to be able to play it super fast, because if you have this much headroom, you don't need to play it fast. But if you can, then it's easy like nothing to play it at a speed level where you can follow, right? Why do I need to do that, Claus? Because then you can play music. Then you don't have to think about making the notes happen. Suddenly you're free. You can speak music. It's so easy, just like speaking. So you can focus on what you're actually saying instead of just having the words come out of your mouth, right? It's like trying to speak a foreign language. 99% of all guitarists, they play like most people try to spell their way through French in a cafe when you're a tourist, right? Excusez-moi, it doesn't work like that. You can't be fluent if you can't speak, super rapidly. And that's what French people can do. They can at least speak twice as fast as they normally do, right? And then once you turn it down to normal speed, then you have mastery. You can even be poetic. You can be all kinds of stuff, right? You can focus on your expression rather than just making the language happen. And also a little side note to that, when you don't master the language you speak, you sound like an idiot. Let's just say it like it is. You do, right? If you have like 50% of the vocabulary and you can't really pronounce them, you can't put them together, these words, you use the wrong words in the wrong context, you sound like an imbecile. You really do. And that's the equivalent. But you can be a brain surgeon, the most learned person in the world, but if you can't speak properly, you sound like an idiot. And the same thing goes here. That's why we need to build speed. Need to be able to do stuff faster than we need. That is the measure of mastery. Period. So speed is of the essence, no matter what you do. Right? How do you know I can play that when I'm super nervous? Got smoke in my eyes, people are cheering, whatever. How do I know I can perform that, with some artistry and some feeling and some, by playing it faster. If I can do, but I only need to go, right? Then I can really get in there because it's super easy. So enough about that. Next video coming up, we will discuss, I'll show you some super effective exercises that's going to utilize this amazing principle that we have got going here. And then we're just going to visit every technique. We're going to visit chords, music theory even. To apply this extremely powerful principle to your practicing, it will change everything. So see you in the next video.
Subscribe for more free videos. Do it. Do it now. Do it.